All right, here we go. Hey guys, welcome out to the range. It's been a minute since I've been out here. You can tell by the fact that the position of the sun has changed since the last few videos that you've seen. We are now squarely into bordering on summer here in Tennessee. So it's getting hot, it's getting bright, and it's been a minute since I've been out here. So I'm gonna run some pistol standards and welcome to the range. And by the way, I am running this cold. I literally just got out here, got set up, and here we go. Ready position, fire one shot. Required time, 1 second. Desired time, 0.85. And I just, hang on a minute. I just realized I need to explain, because there are a bunch of people that keep coming to the channel, new shooters. Ready position either means muzzle up or muzzle down, but it's not this. And this sure as crap is not this. And I would avoid doing this, because all this is position sole, and this is actually basically your handgun is switched off. So I choose muzzle up, elbows tucked in tight, and right now I can clearly see the front side post underneath my lead eye, which is my left eye. So basically right now I'm watching this guy. We're at 7 yards. I'm watching this guy, and at this position right here, even though I'm in a position of elevation on this guy, okay, right here, we're at 7 yards, and I can cleanly see this entire guy. I can see all the way from the top of his head all the way to his feet, touching the ground, or basically the base of the target, touching the ground. But the point is, I can visualize every bit of him, and from here I can push out in front of me and get my shot. Right there is between his eyes. So ready position, this ready position I prefer because both hands are on the weapon. I'm in a position of balance because my feet are spread apart, not shoulders width apart, which is how I was trained as a cop and how a great many of you have been trained. Feet, shoulders width apart, blah, 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 right, okay. Well, it's actually feet spread out wide like the base of a pyramid. I'm tucked in tight, and I'm actually on the balls of the feet, and I'm ready to move if I need to. From here, I can visualize you. In fact, that tripod is bordering on 7 feet up. And I can visualize the entire tripod and the feet touching the ground from this position. Forehead. 110, behind on time. Oh, didn't even find the dot. That is still my big problem, is finding that dot. There it is. I choose to leave this stuff in so you guys understand I work just as hard as you do. Oh man. Look, the fact is that ideally one would come out here and run a bunch of cold, meaning empty gun, draw, aim, click. I choose to come out here and give myself the toughest assignment possible, which is to come out here and just set up and get my gun out and get it loaded with training ammo and immediately jump into it. I do this because I know that when the fight finds me, I'm not going to have warm-ups. So I got to do this the hardest way possible. There we go. It's more consistent. Right eye. 119, still slow. Let me answer the question that I know that's going to get asked. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the good enough sight picture, not the perfect sight picture. Optics are great for that. This is a fiber optics driven RMR 04 from Trigicon. And you can see how I've got it taped off because the fiber optics bundle is so efficient at collecting light that if I don't tape this thing off, it would completely bloom as if I'd turn an RMR 06 all the way up. Right cheek, 0.93, that's better. .88, all right, move on. Ready position, fire 4 shots, 2 seconds. And mowing the lawn. Guys, yeah, handgun's hard work. 205. Got to move faster. 198, made the time. Holster, fire, one shot. 2 seconds. For this particular one, I begin at the ready position, which is hands up like this. This is not a position of surrender. This is a position of, hey, 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 man, hey, sorry. Or, hey, back up, back up, back up. And from here, I'm not telegraphing. If I begin here, I'm telegraphing. Now, I understand that when you're talking about competitive shooting, when you're talking about the hybrid of competitive shooting, which is concealment, but it's more competitive minded, yes, it is perfectly appropriate to begin here. Why? Because that's the world in which that sport is done. I've done it. I don't have a problem with it. Combative shooting is a different animal. You cannot begin here. This is telegraphing. This, with a suit coat, is telegraphing. When you see Secret Service agents standing like this, they're telegraphing. I'm armed and I'm going to tear your face off if you come any closer. But for the armed citizen, this is your position. This is your posture. This position puts your hands in basically a neutral state. And what that means is, in defensive shooting, if I have my gun out and I'm pointing at you and you move, I'm probably going to end up shooting where you were rather than where you're going. But if I begin here, here, whatever, or here, and you move, I can track where you went rather than shooting where you were. So if you ever see a person who does this to you or does this to you and is giving you commands while doing this, you're in major trouble. By the same token, if you see somebody who's doing this, now you know you're dealing with a person who at least understands combatives. As a bad guy, my posture is leaning forward just a little bit because I'm on the balls of my feet right now. And my shirt has now become loose. You don't really know what's going on. And the guy's thinking, is he armed? Does he have a handgun? Does he have a knife? What is his level of training? The point is, I'm not telegraphing anything other than I know what I'm doing. .174. Desired of 170, required of 20. It's a little bit stickier with the gloves. In fact, I'm going to take them off. It's a little bit stickier with the gloves because these gloves are very good at helping you get a grip on things, and unfortunately, they're too good, and they're kind of bunching up as I try to get in my position on the handgun. Woo, it's hot out here. That was 186, by the way. Now, I barely saw the dot kind of fluttering across his left ear, so I'm not going to throw that shot away. I think that was right there. 171. So that was right on the cusp of the desired of 170, but definitely inside of required of 20. Bad luck, I missed on my last shot. By the way, guys, remember that the improved before fight pull tags are still available on the website. This one is pretty much brand new because it lives on my loader, which doesn't get used all that often. This one is quite cool because it gets used every single day, multiple times a day. And you can tell, there's a slight, come on, there's a slight difference between the two, but it's amazing how well this thing is aging. I routinely have it there when I'm doing stuff in and out of the vehicle. I routinely drop it in my pocket and then leave the little tab sticking up. So when I need my keys, I can just pull. And there's nothing that lives in this pocket except for my, my AirPod case. And it's normally tucked here on the bottom corner. And then the keys sort of camp out near the top because the mag and flashlight actually go into the tack pocket of these all-terrain gear Wranglers. And it's actually designed for a cell phone, but it actually holds mags and a flashlight quite well. So the keys camp out right here. I'm always yanking on them, and I'm always inspecting these little nickel grommets. And guys, I'm impressed at how well this is faring. I mean, I've got like a little bit of fraying in the corner. Here, I'll show it to the camera really close. There's a little bit of fraying right there in the corner because I'm intentionally yanking on this thing really, really hard. And I'm always just, you know, doing this kind of foolishness with it and tossing it around. And because these are real aviation quality pull tags, they're faring very well, but I wanted to make sure that I'm giving you guys updates on these. I like them. They're on the website. I remember years ago when I would go to training, I would always focus on rifle because rifle was fun. Rifle was my favorite. It was a lot of fun. Although it bears noting that a rifle class is quite a lot. It's a lot more fuss to pack for a rifle class than to pack for a handgun class. But I enjoyed rifle classes because rifle was my favorite. And now, handgun classes are my favorite. Why? Because handgun is such a difficult discipline to just reach and maintain proficiency. That's why I come out here on a day like today where it's a little too hot, a little too bright to be out here, but I was making slings this morning and filling orders. And I wanted to get some time here on the range before I went too long because, like I said, it's been a minute since I've been out here. Come on. And we are back from commercial. What are we doing? On target, fire one shot, emergency reload, fire one shot. On target, fire one shot. Really? So I loaded my mag for nothing. You think I'd pay attention, right? So let's go ahead and take all 17 rounds out. Always something. All right, this one is emergency reload, refers to firing your gun from empty. So you're talking about fire round, slide lock. You've got to get your mag out. For me, like I said earlier, my mags camp out right here in this pocket. To get a mag out of this pocket, in fact, what's interesting, I just bought these pants last week because these are like 28 bucks at Walmart. I mean, they are about as disposable a pair of pants as one can get. I still repair them, but once they get really badly frayed, tears in them, or the seams start popping, I just throw them away. And but they actually redesigned this tack pocket because, let's face it, phones. I have a, I forget which model this is, but it's a relatively new iPhone, but it's a relatively small iPhone. Today's iPhones are huge, and so they've redesigned this pocket to accommodate the larger phones, which, you know, is good and bad because it means that I now have a generous amount of room in this pocket to accommodate a flashlight, a mag, because before it was a little on the tight side, it was also a little on the high side. The pocket tended to ride higher and get caught on the belt. So now this new one, the way I get the mag out is I slap the bottom of the pocket and I can already feel on my ring finger is the flashlight, and on my index and my Tennessee driving finger, as my friend Shane calls it, is my magazine. I can also feel the rounds inside. So basically it's slap and it's a slap and it's this maneuver. So it's slap and pull up, and the mag comes out of the top. And now what's interesting is to get it out, I end up with this going on. I'm used to it. What it does is it kills my ability to make the desired time of 3.0 or the required time of 3.25. Every once in a while I can get it. It doesn't bug me that much anymore because these times are written for either mags in the back pocket, or mags out of a carrier, or mags out of an appendix rig that has holster and then mag at that angle. I prefer this setup because it hides much better. But anyways, when it comes to this type of thing, I might stage. I don't know. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Today I'm not going to stage. Today I'm actually going to leave it tucked all the way in. On target, fire one shot, emergency reload, fire one shot. Oh, by the way, on target means pointing the weapon at the threat with the slack taken out of the trigger. Ah! Whee! All right, let's do that again. Camera was rolling. That was abysmal. 335. Before I fire that round, I like to make sure that my hands are actually back in position, because unless I'm feeling this right here, you know, this, I don't want to pull the trigger in case my support hand might have found its way in front of that gun some way. So I don't want to go for the good enough shot when it comes to hand position. I want to make sure my hands are feeling what they're accustomed to feeling on the gun before I pull the trigger. Handgun's a booger, boys and girls. Put the work in. That was bad. I was trying to creep my support hand back in position. Guys, I've said this repeated times. Handgun is work, work, work. It is a lifetime of work. It never stops. You never master the handgun, and that came to me from multiple mentors who were special forces, former special forces operators, whose life was handgun. And these men have said, you're never going to master the handgun. You're going to get good at it, but you're never really fully going to master the handgun. .317. I'm going to try it one more time and... Oh, no, I'm sorry, no. Oh, I did make the time. Well, look at me. I'm going to do it one more time anyways. By the way, guys, I guess I should show that to the camera. Whenever you see me put the mag into the gun, I seat the mag and I sweep it with my thumb, and then my support thumb goes like that, and it goes on the gun. What I'm doing is I'm seating the mag, I'm hooking the bottom of the Vickers tactical floor plate, which has just a little notch on it, and then I'm sweeping the loaded chamber indicator, and then I'm getting on the gun. Why am I doing this? Because loading procedures should be simple. They shouldn't have a lot of movement to them. And the reason for that is, if you do things here, you will do things out there. You may disagree with me, and I don't really care, because there's enough video footage now to show that when people are trained a certain way, they do those things in gunfights. Having been a police officer, I know having been a police officer, I know the institutional inbreeding that passes for training. So guys, I've seen some crazy crap, and I'm telling you, I know what I'm talking about. So I minimize the motion to get through a task here. So if I ever find myself in a gunfight out there, I'm not going to do anything crazy to get my gun back up and running. It's going to be mag out, mag in, and I probably won't even sweep. But before the gun gets put away, I will sweep, and then put the gun up. .342. Moving on. My friend Shane Cardwell up in Ohio at Impact Shooting Center says it well. He says, make sure you're reacting to the B in beep rather than the P in beep. Right? Some of you got it, some of you didn't. What he's referring to is the reaction to that was .23. I should be reacting to the beginning of the word B-E-E-P. The moment you begin to hear that sound on B, you need to be reacting instead of waiting for it to go beep and then reacting. .19. .27. So the point is, with one of these, you can actually work on your reaction times. .29. .22. .22. You can work on the reaction that's required to actually finish the task, which is getting in the fight, reacting to the fight. What are we doing right now? Aside from wiping up sweat. Okay, we are doing on target stovepipe, pull trigger, clear pistol, fire one shot. All right, let's set that up. All right, fellas, let's talk about stovepipe jams. I'm going to do this 3 times. I'm going to pick up 3 casings. I'm going to introduce the casing to the, basically I put the casing here and I push back and then I allow the slide to go forward. So place it, and now I've got my stovepipe. Some people do a stovepipe that sits up. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter. The reason I do it this way is if I need to do an admin task before the drill, I can place the handgun back into the holster because the casing is in alignment with the slide, and it allows me to free up my hands responsibly because I don't like putting down guns because this is technically a loaded gun. So I like to put it back in the holster if I'm doing something. All right, this is done in and desired of 175 or required of 2 flat. All right, 2 seconds on the clock. On target, stovepipe, pull trigger, clear pistol, fire 1 shot. .206. Yeehaw! I'm having to retrain my hands. I've been doing this for years. Basically, it would be tap, rack. In fact, I'm glad that my hand actually went there. For years, I did tap, rack, but now that there's an optic here, the windage detent, the screw, I already did this, so I know it's doable. I did this out of class with this gun. I did tap, rack, and moved the adjustment. And when it came exam time at the end of the class, I laid an egg. So now I do tap, rack, back on. And this is ironically something that I picked up from Frank Proctor years ago that I got away from because I was doing a different loading style, but this actually works. So once again, tap, rack, whoop, tap, rack, back on, tap, rack, back on. Because all I'm doing is tapping, rolling to allow gravity to help. Opening the slide, waiting for a moment, casing comes out, rack, back on. .173. We'll do it one more time, but I'm going to change that battery. All right, we are back from commercial. What do we have here? I don't recall where I left off, but I do know. Well, no, let me rephrase that. I don't recall how many reps I did, so we're going to do this one more time. On target, stovepipe, pull trigger, clear pistol, fire 1 shot. Let's make that happen. Actually, you know what? I know that I didn't do it enough because I still have the last casing right here. Trying to find the 210. That's right, we'll move on. Trying to find the front sight post, or the red dot. No, I'm sorry, the amber dot. It is what it is. Okay, this one is one that I only do a couple of times because it tends to booger up rounds. On target, double feed, pull trigger, clear pistol, fire 1 shot. The way I do this one is, I take an empty casing, I drop it in the chamber. What you're trying to simulate here is a fatigued extractor that's not doing its job, and it didn't pull the casing out. And ironically, this actually happened to a friend of mine a few days ago with his AK. His chamber was rusty. The round went in. He fired the first round through the AK, and the AK failed to extract. And we had to actually take the gun apart, put a rod down through the muzzle end and beat the casing out. So if you're not maintaining your weapon, or if the ammo's out of spec, or if your extractor's fatigued, or the spring or detent, or blah, 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 blah. The point is, this has happened. I have seen it. But what this is simulating is, the round has been fired, the casing didn't get extracted, the next round tried to come up and go up and in, and now your mag is locked in, because what has occurred is the next round has advanced ever so slightly and has now locked the magazine's ability to freely drop from the handgun. So now what you have to do to get this out is you have to forcefully extract, save that mag, rack the gun, so it's all the way back, all the way forward, all the way back, all the way forward, mag in, rack, fire your shot, 6 seconds flat. Desired of 5.0, required of 6.0. Middle of the forehead. 5.37. Man, that felt wild and woolly and loose. .537 again. So at least I'm consistent. All right, that's it. This is, you guys have heard me say this many times, this is a great resource. It's on my website for free. You can download the long version. You can download the short version. All this is a clipboard, a cheap clipboard from Walmart that I taped this to. This is the pistol version, this is the rifle version. Tape it to clipboard, jigsaw, sand the edges smooth, And now you have an item that when you're working on the range, you can drop it on a barrel. The wind is not going to suck it down range, just like with steel targets. The wind is not going to suck my steel targets away. I've got durable items to work with. I can get a good work session in, get everything done, and head out the door, or, you know, head back home and get back to work. But setting myself up for success as much as possible is key, and I've given these resources to you guys for free. Man, I can't talk today. I've given these resources to you guys for free on my website. So all you've got to do is go to the training section and download the stuff for free and rock on. As always, I thank you guys for watching. I thank you guys for your support with your sling purchases, your sticker purchases, your pull tag purchases. These are on the lifestyle link on the website, and they're also featured on the homepage. Guys, this stuff is my bread and butter, and I've spent thousands getting these things made. So I wanted to remind you guys, please buy them. As always, God bless you all. Get those guns out and practice. Have a good one.